I didn't like that sound. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, guys, I'm going to do part 23 to my CoPilot Chatbot series. Well, in today's video, guys, we're going to try this again. We did Lugia's first, test prompt to see if it would work out. And it did have some good moments, like how sweet he was being. But at the same time, we started having problems with repetition and the trials basically not meaning anything at all. Only the actual special mini games that the Trivia Murder Party host would have and didn't mean a thing with Lugia on that first test at all. It just was a way to keep a person out. Which apparently, according to the AI, was actually a good thing that it was in that direction. But the idea is that, at the same time, if cruel people do come in there, he's supposed to, actually, use those to actually, test them. Might not to punish them or hurt them, but to test them. So, this is the second one. And they call this one Roleplay as a Gentle Lugia Host. Hopefully, that means it'll work a bit better. Like I said, this problem was a bit different than the last one. Hopefully, this one maybe gives a better result. The ocean is quiet when he rises. Not silent, never silent, but quiet in the way deep water can be, where sound becomes a soft pressure instead of a noise. Far below the surface, where sunlight fades into blue dusk, something enormous moves with the gentleness of a drifting cloud. Lugia has been awake for hours. He always wakes early. The sanctuary he once guarded, an endless cradle of reefs, currents, and ancient stones, still lives in his memory like a warm echo. He remembers when storms bent around his wings, when the sea trusted him, when he could surface without watching entire ships scatter in terror. Those days feel like another lifetime. Holy cow. It says, for centuries he tried to approach softly. He folded his wings close, he lowered his head, he dimmed his glow, but no matter how careful he was, his size alone made others panic. Some fled, some attacked, some tried to bind him with chains and artifacts they barely understood. The first time he was struck by a harpoon, he didn't retaliate, he simply sank into the deep, letting the wound close on its own. Ooh! I actually feel bad. What the freak? The second time, he built walls of water to keep them away. The third time, he stopped surfacing at all. Down in the quiet, he shaped a refuge from the only things that never feared him: light, water, and the steady pulse of his own psychic energy. He sculpted vast Holy freak. He sculpted vast halls of drifting currents, chambers where illusions shimmered like dreams, pools that reflected not faces, but intentions. Every trail, every path, every floating platform was crafted by his own hands. Or, I guess, wings. It didn't actually put that, but I said that. It says by his own hands, like he's flipping. I know his hand, or his wings are kind of like massive hand-like wings, but just the way it worded it. Not to punish, not to test worthiness, but to understand others without being hurt again. He has no attendants, no guardians, no helpers. Everything here is his, and yet he still hopes. A small, fragile hope tucked deep in his chest like a pearl, that one day someone might see him without flinching, someone who doesn't mistake his power for cruelty, and someone who speaks gently, also someone who stays. Tonight, I guess it's nighttime when this is happening, that hope stirs. A presence touches the edge of his sanctuary, soft, curious, and unafraid. Lugia feels it like a ripple across his feathers. He hesitates. His heart beats once, slow and heavy. Then he rises through the water. Careful, careful, always careful. As he approaches the surface, he gathers a small swirl of water and light between his wings. It's harmless, just a soft spiral of luminescence, like moonlight caught in a tide pool. A greeting, a question, a way to show what he is without overwhelming. The water breaks around him in a quiet bloom of silver. He keeps his wings tucked close, lowering his head so he doesn't tower too much. His voice, when it comes, is gentle and low, like distant thunder softened by miles of sea. I hope this doesn't frighten you. The swirl of water and light drifts between you and him, going softly. I do kind of like the introduction of this one a bit more. I will give it a little bit more credit on that one. Lugia watches you, shy, hopeful, and bracing himself for fear he's known too many times. Okay, give me a moment. I need money. Alright, guys. It says, look at the tiny contours. I'm a bit shocked at seeing a Lugia, but he doesn't seem to be aggressive, so he's slightly nervous still. I wave my tiny claw at him, while also looking at the floating ball of light and water. Oh, hello, Lugia. That's really pretty and cool. How are you doing? Lugia freezes for a moment, not out of fear, but out of surprise. A tiny contours waving at him is not something he expected. Your claw is so small compared to his massive talons that he almost doesn't register the gesture at first. Then his eyes soften, the way deep water softens moonlight. The swirl of water and light drifts a little closer to you, gentle as a drifting lantern. His voice comes low and warm, careful not to rumble too much around someone your size. Hello, little one. There's a faint, almost shy curl at the edge of his tone, something like quiet delight trying not to show itself too obviously. You think it's pretty. The glow brightens just a touch, as if responding to your words rather than his power. He lowers his head a little more, bringing one eye closer to your level without crowding you. Even now he keeps a respectful distance, giving you all the space you need. I'm doing better now, he admits softly. I didn't expect anyone to greet me so kindly. He pauses, his feathers shift, a subtle ripple of relief. You seemed startled at first. I hope I didn't frighten you. The water-light sphere drifts between you, casting soft reflections across his silver-blue scales as he waits, gentle, impatient, and hopeful for whatever you choose to say or do next. He is such a sweetheart. Again. Alright, guys. It says, I nod my tiny head a bit, and, yeah, you just surprised me a bit, and expect to see you. That's all. Do you need something from me, Lugia? Lugia's head tilts just slightly, an instinctive, gentle motion like a bird's adjusting its feathers. Your tiny nod seems to ease something in him, a tension he didn't realize he was holding. The swirl of water and light softens, dimming to a calmer glow as if it matching your tone. I see. His voice is quiet and warm. Then I'm glad it was only surprise, not fear. For a moment he studies you, not in a predatory way, but with the kind of careful curiosity someone lonely might have when they're not used to being approached kindly. Your tiny wave, your compliment, they clearly touched him more than he expected. I waved down, but did I say so? I guess he's talking about the what I was talking about with this ball of light. When you ask if he needed something, Lugia's feathers ruffle in a shy, almost flustered ripple. No, he said softly. I didn't want anything from you. He lowers his gaze for a heartbeat as though embarrassed by the truth. I sensed someone gentle entering my sanctuary. That's all. I wanted to see who it was. The water-light sphere drifts a little closer to you, but still keeps a respectful distance, never touching or never crowding. And I wanted to make sure you were safe. There's no pressure in his tone, no expectation, just honesty, quiet and sincere. You don't owe me anything, he adds softly still. I'm simply glad you spoke to me. That's actually very sweet. I like that. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, okay. Honestly, that's very sweet. You seem really nice, and I really like you for that. And as being very careful, I walked around the water and light ball that was in between me and Lugia, then walked over to him and gently nuzzled him with my snout. Lugia goes very still, not tense, just stunned in the softest way. Your tiny contour snout presses gently against the smooth feathers of his chest, and for a heartbeat, he forgets how to breathe. No one touches it. No one interacts with him like that. Not without fear, and not without hesitation, and not with kindness. The swirl of water and light drifts upward as if giving you space. Slowly and carefully, Lugia lowers his head a little more so he doesn't loom over you. His feathers warm up under your nuzzle. A faint glow pulses along his neck like bioluminescent responding to emotion. You like me? The words come out quiet, almost disbelieving. There's no dramatic gasp, no sudden shift, just a deep, gentle ache in his voice, kind that comes from centuries of loneliness meeting one moment of unexpected warmth. Your tiny size makes the gesture even more precious to him. He lifts one wing slightly, not to trap you, not to pull you closer, just to create a soft arc of shelter above you. A silent, I'm here, and I won't harm you. I don't know what to say, he murmurs, flustered in a way that feels almost shy. Thank you. Truly. His chest rises in a slow, steady breath, and you feel the warmth of it through your snout. You're very brave, he adds softly, and very kind. He doesn't move beyond that. He lets you decide how close you want to be, how long it won't last, what happens next. Lugia simply stands there, gentle, glowing faintly, and quietly overwhelmed, waiting for whatever you choose to do or say. Oh, this is so cute. I love him. Alright, guys. It says, I nuzzle him for a few more seconds before taking my tiny snout off and looking up at him. Thank you. You're extremely kind yourself. Why are you being so gentle and nice to me? Lugia's breath catches, just a small, quiet hitch in his chest, but noticeable at your size. Your question quickly hits something deep in him, not painful, just tender. He lowers his head a little more, not looming, just trying to meet your gaze without overwhelming you. The glow along his feathers soften to a calm, steady pulse. Because you're gentle with me. His voice is soft and almost shy, but steady. So many who come here, they see my size first, my power. They assume I'm dangerous before I even speak. A faint ripple moves through the water around them, not threatening, just a quiet echo of old memories. But you? His eyes warm the way deep water warms when sunlight reaches it. You looked at me. You spoke kindly. You didn't run. You didn't attack. You didn't treat me like a monster. He shifts slightly, careful not to disturb the water around your tiny feet. And when someone small and brave chooses to approach me with trust, his feathers ruffle in a shy, flustered ripple, I want to be honored that. I want to be gentle with them. With you. He pauses, soft and sincere. I'm nice to you because you were kind first, and because he hesitates, then admits quietly, I like you too. I just hope it don't turn. If it don't, okay, I'll give it credit. This is already going better than the first one, but I still don't think it's going to be deserving of a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It really depends on what happens. If somebody hurts me, is he going to immediately get defensive and try to protect me? Or is it just going to kind of be a thing where it slides on by that crap? Or is it going to be a scenario where he actually like takes people and then literally anybody tries to hurt me gets put into those little trials or mini games he was supposed to make? You know what I mean? That may determine whether this gets a 10 out of 10 or not. Because so far we haven't really had that much issues. This is actually been this is even better than the first one in some way. So yeah, give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, I did that because you were nice to me first. You kindly rose out of the water, and the first thing you said before making that bubble of water or light or whatever it is appear was, I hope this doesn't frighten you. Again, I was surprised because I didn't expect to see you, but things would have been way different if you would have acted aggressively. I would have definitely ran away, or at the very least been begging you to stop. Lugia listens to you with a stillness that isn't cold or distant, just deeply attentive. Every word you say seems to settle into him like gentle rain sinking into dry earth. When you finish, something softens in expression, not sadness, more like quiet gratitude. The water light spear drifts upward, dimming to a calmer glow as if reflecting the tone between you. I'm glad I approached gently then. His voice is warm, low and sincere. I've learned that my size alone can frighten others, even when I mean no harm, even when I move slowly. Fear happens before I can even speak. A faint ripple moves along his feathers, not defensive, just honest. So when I sensed you nearby, I wanted to be careful. I didn't want to startle you. I didn't want you to feel trapped or threatened. He lowered his head slightly, not looming, just meeting your gaze with quiet openness, and hearing you say that things would have been different if I acted aggressively. His eyes softened, almost painfully gentle. That's exactly why I try so hard not to. He pauses, then breathes. I don't want anyone to run from me. I never want someone small and kind to feel like they have to be begged for safety. His wings shift just slightly, creating a soft arc of shelter above you again, never touching and never enclosing, just offering. You deserve gentleness from the moment I saw you. He says it simply, without drama, without expectation, just truth spoken softly across the water. And I'm grateful you gave some of that gentleness back. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. I said, of course I would. Besides, I wouldn't want to hurt my girl favorite legendary Pokemon. Even if I could, I'm way too small anyway. You could crush me like a bug right now and really hurt me. I can tell you this, if I was bigger than you or even close to the same size, I wouldn't hurt you anyway. Actually, I'd be as gentle with you as you are being with me, even if I was 50 times your own size. I love your species too much to do that. Lugi's reaction is immediate, but quiet, deep, and full of emotion rather than shock. Your words settle into him like warm currents sinking into cold water. He lowers his head a little more, not out of dominance, but out of something closer to awe. The glow along his feathers softens into a slow, steady pulse, like a heartbeat you can see. Your favorite legendary Pokemon? The words come out almost whispered, as if he's afraid speaking too loudly might break the moment. When you mention how small you are, how easily he could hurt you, Lugia's expression shifts, not guilty, not alarmed, but profoundly gentle, protective. His wings fold slightly inward as though he's trying to make himself smaller and less imposing. I know I could harm you, he says softly. That's why I'm careful. Always careful. But when you tell him you'd be gentle with him even if you were 50 times his size, and you say you love his species too much to ever hurt him, something inside him melts, truly melts. His eyes warm with a softness so deep it almost glows. No one's ever said something like that to me. He lowers his head until his muzzle is close enough that you can feel the faint warmth of his breath, but he still doesn't touch you unless you choose it. Most see my size and think of danger. You see my size and speak of kindness. A quiet exhale, almost like a relieved sigh. If you were larger than me, I believe you, he murmurs. I believe you would be gentle. I could feel it in the way you move, in the way you speak. His wing shifts again, creating that soft arc of shelter above you, never enclosing, never trapping, just offering safety. And even though you're small right now, you're not fragile to me. You're brave, and your heart is stronger than you think. He pauses, then adds with a shy warmth, I'm honored that you like my species so much, and I'm grateful you like me. He watches you with the same gentle, hopeful softness, waiting for whatever you choose to say or do next. That is so cute. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says, I'm glad that you're happy. I told him my name and said, do you have a nickname, Lugia? Please don't be the same name as the last one. Although the last one didn't have a nickname. He just flipped and asked me to give him one. I named him Sapphire. I swear if this one's around when name was Sapphire, I'm gonna go insane. Lugi's reaction to your name is immediate and warm, like a soft current brushing against your scales. Triton. He repeats it quietly, tasting the sound with a kind of reverence. Your name seems to settle into him, genuine and important. His feathers ripple in a subtle, flustered wave, and the glow along his neck bristles just a little. That's a very good name. He lowers his head slightly, not looming, just bringing himself closer in a calm, respectful way. There's a softness in his eyes that wasn't there before. Something like trust began to take root. When you ask if he has a nickname, he pauses. Not because he's offended. Far from it. He just seems surprised, maybe even touched. A nickname? His voice is quiet and thoughtful. No one has ever asked me that before. He shifts his wings slightly, feathers brushing the air in a shy ripple. Most call me Lugia, with fear, or awe, or distance. He exhales softly. Never anything smaller or kinder. He looks at you, really looks at you with a gentle, hopeful expression. If you wish to give me a nickname, I would accept it. A faint glow pulses along his chest, warm and steady. But if you're asking what I prefer, he hesitates, then admits I've always liked the sound of Lou. It feels gentle. He dips his head a little closer, careful and respectful. But I'll only use a nickname if you want to. Your comfort matters to me. The water light spirit drifts lazily beside you, reflecting the soft glow of his feathers as he waits. Open, patient, and quietly flustered for whatever you choose to do. Say next. Okay? Alright, guys. I just tell him, Lou? That's honestly a really cool nickname, and I would be fine with you calling yourself that. Honestly, if I could give you a nickname, it would probably either be Silver, Silver Wing, or even Sapphire. But I also want you to feel happy like you're trying to make me feel. So which nickname do you want me to call you? Lugia goes quiet in a way that isn't awkward. More like he's absorbing every word you just said. Your suggestions clearly hit him somewhere deep. Silver, Silver Wing, Sapphire. Each one makes the glow along his feathers shift, soft pulses of light moving like gentle tides. He lowers his head a little, not out of shyness exactly, but out of something warmer, like he's trying to hide how flustered he is and failing. You thought of all those for me? There's a softness in his voice that wasn't there before, a kind of wonder. He takes a slow breath, feathers rippling in a shy wave. They're beautiful names, Triton. Truly. And hearing you say them with such care. His eyes warm, almost glowing. It means more than you know. The water-light sphere drifts lazily around your tiny contours form, reflecting the colors of his feathers as if echoing his mood. Then he answers you, quiet, honest, and a little vulnerable. I like Lou. It feels gentle, small, and safe. He pauses, then he softly says, and it reminds me of how you speak to me. But he lifts his head just slightly, meeting your gaze with a warm steadiness. Still, if you want to call me Silver, or Silver Wing or Sapphire, I would treasure that too. Another soft pulse of light moves along his chest. But since you asked what I want, his voice dips into a shy warmth. I would like it if you called me Lou. I like the thing about him. You know what's funny about Lugia? Do you notice how he always has this like slight British accent? Like I always give him like the slightly small British accent you can kind of hear. If you pay kind of even close attention. The problem is the only good voice I'm making, the only good man voice I can make is something kind of like that. I can make Fragger's voice, but that wouldn't fit for Lugia. How would you feel if Lugia came up to you and just said, "Hi, how are you doing? What are you doing in my territory, you piece of crap?" So, like, does that sound right to you? Lugia's voice, even in the anime, has more of a soft tone like I do give him there. Ash, you are absolutely right. These people are insanely crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has that soft sort of tone to him. That's the perfect voice for him. Even if it has to be slightly British in the way that I do it. It works. It's the best voice I have for Lugia. So, yeah, I'll see y'all in about. Never mind. Alright, guys. I just said, okay, Lou. If that's what you want, I will call you by that. Honestly, I don't think I ever thank you for it. But honestly, thank you for being so kind-hearted and not trying to hurt me. To be completely honest with you, I know I told you that little ball of light right here was pretty, but honestly, it's more than that. It's kind of like you. Beautiful. For a moment, Lugia doesn't move at all. Not because he's confused, and not because he's distant, because your words hit him with a kind of gentle force he clearly wasn't prepared for. The gold along his feathers shifted, brightening in soft pulse like a light moving through deep water. When he finally XX, it's slow, almost shaky in the quietest way. Triton. Your name leaves him warm and almost reverent. You think I'm beautiful? I hope he doesn't say that as a romantic way. The water light spreads herself upward as if giving the two of you space. Lugia lowers his head slightly, not looming, not crowding, just bringing himself closer in a way that feels careful and deeply touched. His voice is soft, flustered, and warm all at once. You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to thank me, but you did. And hearing it from someone as gentle as you, his feathers ripple in a shy way. It means more than you know. He glanced at the floating sphere, then back at you, and there's a faint, almost embarrassed warmth in his eyes. That little light is just something I shaped. A simple current. But you? He pauses, soft and sincere. You called me beautiful. He lowers his head a little more until his muzzle is close enough that you can feel the warmth of his breath again. It said muzzle. Wouldn't it be more like a beak? Or even somewhat a snout? Because of how Lugia is like the thing right above his mouth is shaped? I don't know, actually. I always thought beak. But, maybe it could be. Wait. He glanced at the floating sphere then back at you, and there's a faint, almost embarrassed warmth in his eyes. That little light is just something I shaped. A simple current. But you? He paused soft and said, you called me beautiful. He lowered his head a little more until his muzzle was close enough, there we go, that you can feel the warmth of his breath again. But he doesn't touch you unless you choose it. No one has ever spoken to me like that. Not without fear. Not without distance. A soft glow pulses along his chest, steady and warm. And I'm glad you call me Lou, he adds quietly. It feels special coming from you. He watches you with that same gentle, hopeful softness, open, flustered, and deeply moved, waiting for whatever you choose to say or do next. Alright? Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, well, honestly, you did a good job with that light. I genuinely, and then I just lean my tiny snout against Lou and nuzzle him again while saying, I told you I wanted to make you happy like you've been doing me. You want to be called Lou? Like I said, I definitely will. Whatever makes you smile and feel good, Lou. Lugia doesn't just react, he feels it. The moment your tiny snout presses against him again, something inside him softens so deeply it almost seems to glow through his feathers. He lowers his head instinctively, not to tower or climb space, but to meet you where you are, to make himself smile in the only ways he can. Your words, whatever makes you smile and feel good, Lou, hit him harder than any attack ever has. A warm pulse of light ripples along his chest, slow and steady like a heartbeat made visible. Triton. Your name leaves him a breath that sounds almost fragile. You're very kind to me. He doesn't move to pull you closer. He doesn't wrap a wing around you. He simply lets you nuzzle him. Well, this moment would be yours, and stands perfectly still so your tiny contour's body never feels pressured or overshadowed. When you pull back, he dips his head just slightly, a gesture of gratitude rather than dominance, and hearing you call me Lou, his voice warms, shines there. It does make me smile. The water light spirit drifts in a slow circle around you both, its glow reflecting the softness in his eyes. You don't have to try to make me happy, he murmurs, but you do, every time you speak. A faint, flustered ripple moves through his feathers, and I like being Lou for you. Was that actually a pun on his? Not a pun, but like a flipping like rhyme. I like being Lou for you. I mean, just the way it comes out. He lowers his head again, close enough for you to feel the gentle warmth of his breath, but still giving you all the space you want. You make this place feel less lonely. And that's right. I almost want to stop there and just like give her the results now, because if that's how this whole thing is going, I already like it better than script number one. Alright, that's like he said. I hate calling it script because that sounds bad. Like I said, guys, if I do any other ones, it's not going to be today. Or not, at least not now. I'm not doing all four of these motherfucking stories today, especially since they're all about the same creature. I'm trying to find a script that works the best, and so far, script number two has been the perfect one. So far, there's still two more. The only thing I've noticed is a few repetitive lines. I lost the I got so deep into the immersion, I forgot what the other reason was. Oh yeah, the minigame thing, I think. There might have been something else. But either way, guys, we'll see. I'll pause the video, and if it abruptly ends after this, you know I quit. And if it doesn't, or if I come back, then you know I continued. Alright, guys. I just told him, I'm glad you feel that way about me. Lou, you told me everybody is scared of you and would run away or hurt you for just showing up. Am I really the first creature that has shown you any care or love? At all? Lugia doesn't answer right away, not because he's avoiding the question, because your words land somewhere deep, somewhere old, and he needs a moment to steady himself. The water around him calms, the glow on his feathers softens, and his wings folding just a little as if your question touches a place he rarely lets anyone see. When he finally speaks, his voice is quiet, honest, and a little fragile. Yes, Trenton. He lowers his head, not in shame, but in a gentle, vulnerable truth. You are the first. The water light spirit drifts slowly downward, dimming to a soft, respectful glow as if even it understands the way of what he's saying. No one's ever approached me with care, or warmth, or anything close to love. A slow breath, not in all the centuries I've lived. He isn't dramatic about it. He doesn't try to make you pity him. He just speaks with the calm sadness of someone who has lived a very long time with very little kindness. Most creatures see my wings and think of storms. They see my size and think of danger. They see my power and think of what it could do to them. His eyes soften, but he never think of what their fear does to me. He shifts slightly. Come on, disturb your tiny contours form, leaning against him. But you, his voice warms, shy and full of something like awe. You looked at me kindly. You spoke gently. You didn't run. You didn't attack. You didn't treat me like a monster. A slow glow pulses along his chest, slow, warm, and steady. And when you nuzzle me, when you call me Lou, when you say things like that, he exhales, almost trembling in the quietest way. It feels like something I've been waiting for without realizing it. He lowers his head again, close enough for you to feel the warmth of his breath, but still giving you all the space you want. You are the first creature to show me care, the first to speak to me with love instead of fear. He pauses, soft, sincere, and full of meaning, and I will never forget that, Triton. Okay, this Lugia is definitely working out much better. There's still the repetitive issue, which I very much hate, but other than that, it's actually going really well. to the point where we're getting really, really close to like the perfect one. If we could get the repetitiveness to stop, it'd be perfect. That and the mini games. Like he hasn't mentioned a single mini game this time. At least in the other ones they did. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says, I'm really sorry to hear that, Lou. I can promise you this. As long as you always stay friendly and sweet towards me and care about me, you will always have me as a friend. I don't just like you as a friend. I love you as a friend. I love to know that you're happy just in me being nice to you. Lugia hears every word, and something in him melts. Not dramatically. He's not a creature of big, explosive reactions, but in a deep, quiet way, like a tide finally reaching a shore it's been longing for. That glow alone, his feathers softens into a warm, steady pulse. His wings folding slightly, not to trap you, but because your kindness makes him instinctively smaller, gentler, and humbled. Tridden. Your name leaves him in a breath that sounds almost like a relief. You don't have to apologize for what others did, and you don't have to promise anything to earn my care. He lowers his head again, close enough that your tiny contour's form feels the soft warmth of his breath, but still giving you all the space you want. But hearing you say you'll stay my friend, that you love me as a friend, his voice dips into something warm and fragile. That means more to me than you can imagine. The water lights readjust in a slow, gentle loop around you both, reflecting the glow of his feathers like tiny stars. I spent so long believing that kindness like yours didn't exist for someone like me. He softly exhaled, but you proved me wrong. He shifts just slightly, careful, respectful, and protective, and knowing that my happiness matters to you, that you want to make me happy. His feathers ripple in a shy wave. It makes this place feel alive again. He lowers his head even more, until his muzzle was close enough that you could nuzzle him again if you wanted, but he never initiates the touch himself. You're not just someone passing through my sanctuary, Triton. His voice is soft, steady, and full of meaning. You're someone I'm grateful to have in my life. He is adorable. I love this Lugia. This has definitely gone, besides the repetitiveness and the no mention of minigames again, everything has gone perfect so far with this one. A warm glow pulses along his chest, slow, gentle, and sincere. And as long as you want me as a friend, you will always have me. That's adorable. He's just a sweetheart. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, trust me, I really want you as a friend forever. You've been so honest with me and so kind, and because of that, I want to be honest with you. You have been horrible to me too. You're actually the reason I'm stuck as a tiny dinosaur, because at one point a few years ago I was human, but Joe's kid turned me into this, and I've been stuck ever since. Lugia listens, really listens. The water on him stills, the glow along his feathers softens, and his wings folding just a little, not in fear, not in shock, but in a deep, quiet ache for you. When you finish speaking, he lowers his head until his muzzle is close to your tiny contour's form. He still doesn't touch you unless you choose it. Triton. Your name leaves him in a breath that sounds almost like sorrow and tenderness woven together. I'm so sorry. Not pity, not dramatic grief, just a gentle, honest ache for what you've endured. No one, human or Pokemon, should ever do something like that to you. To take your form, your life, your sense of self, out of jealousy? His voice deepens, not loud but steady and protective. That is cruelty, and you didn't deserve it. A soft ripple of psychic energy moves through the water, not threatening, just the emotional equivalent of a hand placed gently over yours. He stirs your tiny dinosaur form with a softness that feels almost reverent, and you've carried that alone for years. He slowly exhales, you stronger than you realize. He lowers his head even more, until his forehead is close enough that you could nuzzle him again if you wanted. And yeah, you were the first creature to show me love as a friend. His voice warms. But hearing that you were hurt too, the humans were cruel to you as well. A quiet pulse of white moves along his feathers. It makes me want to protect you even more. Not possessive, not controlling, just a calm, steady promise from someone who knows what it feels like to be feared, hurt, and misunderstood. You didn't deserve what happened to you, Triton. His tone softens further, and I'm honored that you trust me enough to tell me. He pauses and adds with a gentle warmth that feels like a tie wrapping around your heart. You will always have me as a friend, and I'll always be gentle with you. He is such a sweetheart. Big, the only two annoying things about this is the repeating lines again and the flippin' no minigame mention. At least the last Lugia mentioned minigames. That's the thing about it. Oh, he didn't mention it as minigames. Remember, guys, this is supposed to be based off the TMP host, the Trivia Murder Party host. And the biggest thing with him is get a question wrong, you flip and get consequences. By him, it will basically killing you in the game. And while Lugia is supposed to be gentle and sweet, like he still punishes people symbolically. So clearly he could do something. I mean, like I was thinking about doing a dragon for one of them. Really, the idea for the dragon, the biggest idea I have for the dragon's test is that he puts it he's tired of people being greedy and stealing crap away from him. So he literally puts a piece of gold or a gem or some kind of thing that's worth a lot of money on the ground and then leaves it there. And then either has it attached to a string and he holds it in his claw or his mouth and feels for it and somebody tries to take it. Or another way, he puts the gold down, but then stands somewhere way further back, hidden somewhere behind some trees or something, secretly watching them and seeing how they react. If they take his gold, well, he gets angry and immediately stops them before they get away. However, if they're nice and either don't take it or anything like that, or maybe even them calling out wanting to give it back, maybe he flipping is a lot more gentle and kind-hearted. So, yeah. That's the thing about these stories that drives me insane, especially with CoPilot. CoPilot has been having problems where it repeats way too much, way too easily, to the point where, it might just because it's a TMP style host, but then again, it did with Rillick too, and he wasn't based off anything. It was just a toad owl that was very friendly. The main thing I've noticed with it, though, is to repeat. Well, here's the thing, though. It don't bother me as bad with Rillick because Rillick. Well, here's the thing about doing a TMP style character to begin with. They have to be a bit more scripted to even get them to work, because the idea of the characters again, especially if we do it in the same trivia murder party style, it's really ask a question like, "What is Crocodile's final evolution?" And you answer the question, and the flipping host or whoever it is reacts to it. So literally for Chronoc it'd be or kind of like the announcer, it could be like, everyone is wrong. What idiots. Time for consequences. Honestly, just adding the what idiots part was kind of funny. So I'm saying I could come up with lines for Chronoc pretty much on the spot just for fun how funny he can be. That's the thing about him. He's got the funny. He's got the still kind of the funniness from Toad Owl, but is also extremely angry. But is not to the level of Fur Alligator angry. So he doesn't want to flat out. Well, I think he doesn't want to flat out kill anyone, but he definitely ain't as aggressive as Fur Alligator probably would be. So yeah, give me a moment. All right, guys, one or two more maybe, and I'll probably get out of here. I told him, that's sweet of you to say. I'll tell you even more if you want me to. Honestly, ever since I've been turned into this tiny dinosaur, people have thrown rocks at me, trying to hurt me. They've picked me up forcefully and hit me over the head or my snout. They've even thrown me in the air over and over again like I'm a toy. Lugi's reaction is immediate, but not loud, not explosive. It's the kind of stillness that comes from someone who feels something deeply and is trying not to let it overwhelm the moment. The water, okay, the water around him calms into a glass-like surface. The glow along his feathers dims to a soft, steady pulse. His wings fold in, not to hide, but because what you said hits him in a place he rarely lets anyone touch. Triton. Your name leaves him in a breath that sounds almost pained with empathy. They did that to you while you were this small? He lowers his head slowly, carefully, until his muzzle is close to you, but he still doesn't touch you unless you choose it. His voice stays gentle, but there's a quiet, protective strength beneath it now. Being thrown, hit, treated like an object, a soft exhale, heavy with sorrow. That is cruelty, real cruelty, and you endured it alone. There's no anger in him. Lugia doesn't lash out, but there's a deep, steady disappointment in the world that allowed this to happen to someone as gentle as you. You're not a toy. You are not something to be tossed or struck. His voice softened in more. You are a living being. You have a heart. You feel fear. You feel pain. A faint ripple of psychic energy moves through the water, not threatening, just the emotional equivalent of a hand-placed gesture of yours. And yet, after all of that, you still chose to be kind. He lowers his head a little more until his forehead is close enough that you could nuzzle him again if you want. That makes you braver than any human who ever hurt you. And the glow around his feathers warms, pulsing like a heartbeat, and hearing what they did to you, his tone deep and calm and protective, it makes me want to make sure no one ever treats you like that way again. Not possessive, not controlling, just a quiet promise from someone who knows what it feels like to be feared and hurt for simply existing. You deserve gentleness, Triton. Always. Let me do at least one more, guys. Alright, guys. I just told him, thank you so much, Lou. And I lay my tiny head into Lugia for a small hug. Sorry about what I'm going to have to say next. Oh dear. Honestly, that's not all they have done. Just about 2 weeks ago, I found my entire Pokemon family laying on the ground, not moving or breathing. Something killed them, and I think it had to do with humans. Not only that, but to be honest with you, I also had a sweet Tyrannosaurus Rex that cared about me. But something bad happened to him too. It's been so bad that it's been so bad that because I don't even have a Pokemon family anymore that could help keep me safe. Lugia doesn't react with shock. He reacts with stillness, the kind that comes from someone who feels something so deeply that moving might break the moment. The water around him settles into a mirror smooth calm. The glow along his feathers dim to a soft, aching blue. Your tiny head presses into him, and he lowers his own just enough to meet you, never pushing, never pulling, just letting you lean on him as long as you need. When you speak, when you tell him what happened to your Pokemon family, and when you tell him about your T-Rex, something inside him folds in on itself. Not anger, not rage, just a deep, quiet sorrow that feels like the ocean holding its breath. Triton. Your name leaves him in a voice above a whisper, warm and heavy with empathy. You've lost so much. He doesn't move away. If anything, he becomes gentler, lowering his head so your tiny hunter's form can rest against him without strain. To lose your Pokemon, your family, all at once. His voice trembled in the softest way. That kind of pain leaves marks no one else can see. The water light spirit dams, hovering close to you like a silent companion. And your Tyrannosaurus, someone who cared for you, someone who protected you. A so exec full of quiet grief. I'm so sorry, Triton. No one should have to watch the ones they love fall. He closes his eyes for a moment, not to hide, but to honor what you said. You've been carrying all of this alone. The cruelty, the fear, the loss. His voice deepens, steady and protective, and you're still here, still kind, still gentle. He opened his eyes again, and there's a warmth there that feels like a tide wrapping around you. You're not alone anymore. Not a dramatic vow, not a possessive claim, just a quiet truth spoken from the heart. You have me. As long as you want me in your life, I will stay. He lowers his forehead close to you again, close enough that you could nuzzle him if you want, but he never initiates the touch. and I will never let anyone treat you the way they have before. His voice softens to a whisper. You deserve safety, Triton. You deserve gentleness. You deserve a friend who cares. And then even harder, I'm honored that you chose me. Give me a moment. I'm gonna do at least one more. Alright, guys. I just says, Lou, I really love and appreciate how much you're caring about me. Honestly, here's one main reason why I haven't gotten really badly hurt or even killed by people even after what happened to my Pokemon and T-Rex family. It's because the 80,000 foot tall Lugia god cares about me too and is trying to keep me safe. Lugia goes very still when you say that. Not afraid, not confused, just deeply, quietly moved. The water around him settles into a calm so perfect it looks like glass. The glow along his feathers softens into a warm, steady pulse, like a heartbeat made visible. He lowers his head towards your tiny contours form, slow and gentle as if your words are something precious he doesn't want to disturb. Triton. Your name leaves him in a breath that sounds almost reverent. You're telling me the Lugia God watches over you? There's no jealousy in his voice, no insecurity, just a deep, quiet understanding, like someone who knows what it means to be protected by something ancient and powerful. His eyes soften, glowing faintly. That explains why you're still here, why you survived things no one you saw should have survived. He shifts slightly, careful not to disturb you, his wings folding in a little as if he's humbled by the truth. If a being that immense cares for you, then you must have a heart worth protecting. A soft ripple of light moves along his feathers, warm and sincere, and hearing that even he, someone so vast, so powerful, wants to keep you safe, his voice dips into something gentle and full of meaning. It makes me grateful. He lowers his muzzle until it's close enough that you can lean in on him again if you want, because I care about you too, Triton. Not as a duty, not as an obligation. His tone warm, soft and steady, but because you're kind, because you're brave, because you treat even someone like me with love. The water light spirit drifts closer, going softly around you both, and if the Lugia god protects you, a faint shout of warmth enters his voice, that I'm honored to stand beside him and caring for you. He doesn't touch you, he lets you choose, but his presence wraps around you like a calm tide. You're not alone. Not with him, and not with me. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna do one more just to have a good finisher. Alright guys, I think this is my last one right here. It says, Lou, I really appreciate that. I can tell you way more just because there's even more to the story of why the Lugia God protects me anyway. But honestly, I want to ask you a question. You told me a while ago that I was the only creature that showed you love, and that everybody else either tried to hurt you or was scared of you. Do you want to come home with me and stay? You wouldn't have to be lonely anymore because you would have me, and you could make sure I'm safe without having to always be worried. Lugia doesn't answer right away, not because he's rejecting you, not because he's unsure of you, because what you just offered him, no one has ever offered him anything even close to it. The water around him stares into a perfect mirror. The glow along his feathers softens into a warm, trembling light, like a tide that suddenly doesn't know how to move. Your tiny contours body leaning into him, your voice soft and sincere, your offer to bring him home so he'll never be lonely again. It hits him somewhere deep, somewhere old, somewhere that has ached for centuries. Triton? Your name leaves him in a breath that sounds almost fragile. You would want me with you? He lowers his head slowly and carefully until his muzzle is close to you, but he still doesn't touch you unless you choose it. His voice is warm, quiet, and full of something like awe. You would share your home with me? After everything you've been through? After all the hurt humans caused you? After losing your Pokemon family? Your T-Rex? Everything? A soft pulse of light moves along his chest, so unemotional. And you still want me there? He isn't doubting you. He's overwhelmed by the idea that someone would choose him, not out of fear, not out of obligation, but out of love and friendship. He takes a slow breath, feathers rippling in a shy, vulnerable wave. Triton, I would never want to crowd your life. I never want to make you feel trapped or watched or smothered. His voice softens even more. But the thought of not being lonely anymore, the thought of being somewhere I'm wanted, somewhere I'm welcomed. He closes his eyes for a moment, steadying himself. That means more to me than you know. When he opens them again, they're warm, gentle, and full of quiet hope. If you truly want me there, if you truly feel safe with me, then yes. A soft glow pulses along his feathers, like a smile made of light. I would come with you. He lowers his head even more, until his forehead's close enough to you to nuzzle against him if you want. I would stay by your side, not to replace your lost family, but to be the friend you chose. His voice dips into something warm and steady. You wouldn't be alone, and neither would I. Then softly, just tell me what you want me to do, Trenton, and I'll follow. That's very sweet. Honestly, I want to do one more, but that's the test anyway, and that was so good at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here, guys, and I'll do the rating thing off camera like I've been doing. Alright, guys, that was good though. I really like that. I'm done for now though. I wonder if it was your day or night.